Hey everybody, hope you all can hear me. Sorry, I was just setting this up. I just got done with pre-calculus's lesson. Um, so today's lesson is going to be focusing on reviewing all the derivative rules that we were kind of learning about during this long distance stuff. And I know it's hard, right, to be learning new things without having like that direct instruction. Some quick things to be aware about is the session will be recorded. We do have to record it. Also, so I record it so that for those who aren't here can have access to this as well. Again, you always just want to reach out to me if you can't access or you're unable to access a live meeting. Okay, so quick classroom norms. I'm pretty sure it's going to be very easy for us in AP Calc to follow these because y'all do this all the time. But active listening, respecting the one mic, that was so hard, y'all, in pre-calculus. I tried to unmute everyone and that was quite a mistake. But anyways, being kind to each other, respect different ideas, just be respectful. Maybe somebody has a different way of explaining something or thinking about something. I do expect us to participate. You don't have to like verbally chat, like talk. If you don't want to, you could type it out, and that's fine. And just to be present. So those are just our class norms. Let me know if anyone has any questions about that. And again, you could put your questions in the chat. Okay. Okay, some quick norms. Again, use the chat to ask questions. You could use this little reaction button to give some feedback, like thumbs up, thumbs down. Raise your hand if you really, really want me to unmute you and so you could speak and share your ideas. Turn off the mic when you're listening, and try to refrain from multitasking. So hopefully everyone finds themselves in a place that's quiet. If not, I feel for you. Yeah. Okay. Here's going to be our agenda today. So we're going to have a quick check-in question. We're going to be doing some task problems together. A lot of you on the quizzes, I put like, what do you need more of? And some of you put, we need more practice on all the derivative rules because it's been a lot, right? So that's what I'm going to focus today's lesson on. We're going to have a task. So I'm going to help you all get started on a task, and then you're going to finish up the task, and then you're going to submit it on Google Classroom as an assignment. I haven't yet created the Google Classroom assignment. If you were looking for it, I will be creating it right after this meeting. Anyone have any questions on the agenda? Okay. Cool. No questions? All right. So for this part, we're going to go ahead and do some quick connections. I want you to think about this question before we even get started into talking about math is to think about how has this pandemic affected a lot of your lives. First off, both inside and outside of school. A lot of uncertainty is happening. But given all of this, reflect on the question below. I'd like you to go ahead and type into the chat box for what in your life do you feel most grateful for right now? This is just anything. Good. Not being sick. I agree. That's actually very good. I can relate to that. I'm thankful for not being sick. Spending time with family. I agree. Family help. Yep. For me, it's for sure sleep. When I had to like, go to physically to work, I only had 7 hours of sleep. Now I'm able to kind of get at least, to be honest, I function on 9 hours. That's pretty good for me. Good. Grateful that family staying safe hasn't gotten sick. I'm happy to hear that. Peace and mental health. Home and food during this pandemic. That's so true. And family staying safe. It's really great. I'm also very much on the food, being healthy. It's really scary when you see all those, like some stores that have people lined up, it makes you like scared. Good family safety. Awesome. All right. Feel free to continue to add to like what you feel grateful for. I'm going to go ahead and move us on to the next thing. We're always open to add to that because I'm pretty sure there's like so much things that we can list off that we're grateful for. But let's jump into today's lesson. So we're going to go ahead and review our overall derivative rules. And remember, the derivative is basically the slope of the tangent line, and it helps you find like the instantaneous rate of something that's traveling. Like for example, a car that's driving, what's its exact speed at whatever seconds. So here are the rules that we've learned so far in the last 2 weeks before the spring break. We had the product rule. So that's if you have two functions being multiplied together, then the derivative of the function is going to be the derivative of the first function times keep the second function the same, plus leave the first function alone, then you take the derivative of the second while multiplying. So that's product rule. You use this whenever two functions are being multiplied together. And again, feel free to, if you have questions about a specific rule, just use the chat and I'm happy to answer it. Then there's quotient rule. That's basically a quotient is when you have division happening. So when you see a fraction of functions, like a function divided by another function, then the rule you want to use is called the quotient rule. How this one works is you take the derivative of the top function while keeping the second function the same, minus, notice it's not plus, minus, leave the top function alone, take the derivative of the second, all over the bottom function squared. Then lastly, the chain rule. And to be honest, the chain rule is one of the rules that most students kind of have difficulty grasping. It's whenever you have an inner and outer function like this, h of g of x, then the derivative is going to be take the derivative of the outer function while keeping the inner the same times the derivative of the inner. So we're going to be going over a few sample problems like this. By the way, do you I hope that you all have the slides open. If you don't have the slides open, I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the chat because I linked up task 1 that we're gonna do together. Let me just quickly get you guys that link into the chat if you don't have these slides open. So I went ahead and put the slides into the chat so you can open that up, because what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be doing this task that I linked on the slides together. So you wanna open that up. As you guys are getting the slides opened up and ready, just some quick things of what we're going to do right now. I'm going to be going over one problem from each part of the handout, and then I'll be pausing for questions. Then number 2 is you're going to be all working together. You could talk and interact. I'm going to mostly be, after I go over the examples, just sitting back and letting you guys try to figure it out, depending on our timing though. We got about 19 minutes now. Then number 3, you're gonna utilize me for help though. If I see y'all are stuck and nobody knows the answer, I'll for sure jump in and help y'all. In the last 5 minutes, hopefully, right? This is also new. I struggle even with giving real exit tickets in class, but in the last 5 minutes, I'll close the meeting with a checkout question, a reminder to submit your work on Google Classroom. This is the hope for today. I'll try to remind myself in the last 5 minutes to remind you all of the assignment and everything. Okay, does anyone have any questions on the instructions so far? Good, I see a lot of us are in. I see Eric, Betsy, I don't know, Huda. I'm just gonna guess, I don't know who's in, but please make sure you're in the slides so I could open up the task. All right, so everyone should be right into this slide. You're gonna go ahead and click the task. This is the task that you're gonna make a copy of and submit onto Google Classroom. So maybe the most important thing is I want to see everybody. Yeah, great. I see 3 of you on here, 4 of you. Good. And I think we had 8 people in this meeting, 9 people. So I should see 9 of you in this document. I think I'm waiting on 3 more. I think Do we lose some people? Okay, there we go. So we have Alexa, Elizabeth, Huda, Kelvin, and Rafa and Sayan are in the document. Who are we missing? Okay, just make sure you're in the document though, because we're going to be doing some examples right now. Let's go ahead and get started, everyone. So first, let's take a look. We're going to be doing product rule, quotient rule, and chain rule practice. I put this one here. You have 1, 2, 3 product rule problems. This right here is challenge. If you want to go for some extra credit, you could complete this problem. You're going to scroll down and we have quotient rule practice. It's only 3 problems. There's no challenge for this one. And then the last one, oops, I forgot this one's going to be a challenge. So for the last one, you're going to be doing the 3 problems, 1, 2, 3. This one is a challenge if you want some extra credit. So number 4, chain rule, is going to be a challenge. And that's going to be it. So you have different ways to submit this assignment. You could submit it taking a picture of your work onto Google Classroom, or you could do what I'm going to do, which might take you some more time, but that's okay. All right, so let's begin. So it says use product rule. So if you go back to the slides, right, the product rule is take the derivative of the first function, leave the second alone, plus leave the first function alone, then take the derivative of the second. So I'm going to do that right now. But first, maybe I'm going to look at the chat. Can anyone tell me what is the derivative of the first function here? What's the derivative of 2x plus 1? In the chat, you could go ahead and answer. Alexa, Eric said 2, Huda said 2. You guys are correct. The derivative of a linear function is going to be its slope always. So I'm going to write that down, 2. Okay, and remember the product rule says take the derivative of the first, keep the second the same. So I'm just going to copy and paste this guy down. Keep the second the same, multiply. All right, then the rule says I have to add. Then keep the first function the same. And now, what is the derivative of the second function? Let's go ahead and enter that into the chat. So Eric says 12x, 12x, 12x. You guys are right. For those who forgot, bring the exponent down. 6 times 2 is 12. 2 minus 1, remember subtract exponent, is going to be just x, or x to the first power. So that's correct. The derivative of the second function is 12x. Now, the next thing you want to do to basically simplify your answer is just go ahead and distribute, right? 2 times 6x squared is going to be 12. I'm just going to copy down x squared. And then we have 2 times positive 3 is going to be plus 6. Notice how I'm kind of like I can't get out of that superscript. So how you get out of that is you go to Format, and then you just click on the thing that looks like an exponent, and it brings me back down. So I wanted to do plus 6. That's for the first one. Let me know if anyone has any questions on how I distributed the 2 in there. For the second one, I'm going to do 12x times 2x. 12x times 2x is 24x squared. Now again, I gotta get out of that superscript. If you all have an easier way of doing that, let me know. Then we have 12x times 1. So far, that's what we have. Should we show our work how you're doing it, or can we just do it on paper? You can do it on paper, or if you want to do it this way, you can totally do it this way. I was going to try to do it on paper with y'all with my my little document camera, but I took the one that has a really bad quality, keeps freezing and like doing a lot of blur movement. So that's why I'm doing it on the document. If you can do it on the document, go ahead. I'd love it. The next thing we're going to do is go ahead and combine like terms. 12x squared is plus 12x squared. That's 24x squared. Then we have plus 6 and plus 12x. Well, those two aren't like terms. So that means it's just going to be plus 12x and then plus 6. Notice I'm just copying and pasting. If y'all are wondering why do I always have typos in my PowerPoints, it's because I just copy and paste, and that's what ends up happening. But anyways, that's our answer. I'll just highlight that. Does anyone have any questions on number 1? Yeah, Huda. Let me try to unmute everybody. Let's see if it works for this class. Let me try to unmute everybody, and if you are not talking, just try to mute yourself. Let's try it. I'm scared. Okay. Yeah, Huda, what's your question? Are you able to hear me? You could type it out if you want to type it out too, if you don't want to talk. I don't know if you want to type it out, Huda. I hear my phone vibrating. I'm not sure if other students are messaging me. Okay, I hope I could, isn't 12x times 2x 24x squared? Which one? Did I mess up? Yeah, it is. This one right here? Is that one what you're talking about? Yes, that's right. See, look, I did an error. Perfect. Thank you, guys. So then 12 plus 24 is 32, right? No, 36. Never mind. Boom. Yay. Nope. You guys are the holders of knowledge. For sure. Yay. I'm happy we addressed it because I was like, yeah, that was just my bad. Sorry. Cool. Are we okay to move on to next sampler question? All right, let's go. All right, the next one is oh, somebody's talking. Yes, okay. The next one we're gonna do is the quotient rule sample down here. Now, for those of you who are interested in using the equation feature, I'm gonna show you guys how to use that. If you wanna do it on a piece of paper, that's totally fine. What you do is you go to insert and you go to equation, and it pops up these tools here. And on these tools, if you click right here, you got some math operations. I'm gonna click on the division one. Now, every time I do the division one, it's like small, so I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger so I could see. Okay, so quotient rule. Again, I don't expect y'all to have these memorized just yet. I'm gonna tell you the definition, and hopefully you're looking back at your notes or on the slides where I put that definition on there. It's kind of hard to like, I probably could have put it in here, but you know, I didn't have time. But the definition of quotient rule is to take the derivative of a fraction. See, whenever you see a fraction, then you know to use quotient rule. To do that is you're going to take the derivative of the top function while leaving the second the same. What's the derivative of 3? Let's use the chat. What's the derivative of 3 itself? The top number, the top function. What's that derivative? Yeah, 0 is correct. Sorry, I was typing into the chat. Perfect. The derivative of the top function is 0. Then quotient rule says keep the bottom function the same. So I'm just going to grab it. Nope. It won't let me copy and paste it. Oh, well, so I'm going to have to type it out. So take the derivative of the top, 0, keep the bottom function the same, minus, remember for quotient rule, it's a minus. Then we're going to keep the top function alone, and then take the derivative of the bottom function. Now, what's the derivative of x squared plus 2, everybody? Oops. How do I zoom in? Is that good enough? Sorry, I'm zooming in. Yeah. Okay, so Alexa and Huda said that the derivative of the bottom function is 2x. You guys are correct. Remember that plus 2, the derivative of a constant is 0, so it goes away. Oops. Gosh darn it. There you go. Then we don't forget, because a lot of people, when they do quotient rule, they forget about the last part of the formula, which is all divided by the bottom function squared. So we go to the bottom. The bottom function is x squared plus 2. So we're just going to rewrite x. And I'm using shift 6, by the way, y'all, to do the exponent. Then I hit enter. And then it's all to the second power, according to the rule. Is everyone okay with the first setup of the quotient rule? Or does anyone, let me pause here and see if anyone has questions so far. Okay, let's move on. So what's something that's, I'm just, y'all see what I did? I'm just copying. Ooh, what'd I do? No, I think that's fine. I think it's because I'm zoomed in, I think. All I did is I copied and pasted first step to second step so I could just edit the second step. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna do is 0 times anything is just 0. So this is gone, right? This first part is gonna be gone, delete. -3 times 2x is going to be -6x. Awesome, and then the bottom is just the bottom squared. I'm not trying to FOIL it out. You can if you want. I think I'm done though. That's as simplified as I can go. Does anyone have any questions on this problem right here? All right, let's move on. Oops, it's hard, I guess, because I'm zoomed in. Okay, great. I'm just gonna go all the way down to the last ones, which is chain rule. Let's do the first part of chain rule. So chain rule, again, as I mentioned, it's one of the harder ones, just because, I don't know, in general, just from my experience, students struggle the most with chain rule. So chain rule, you first got to identify what's your inner and what's your outer function. Usually the stuff in parentheses right here is your inner function. Your outer function is whatever's outside the parentheses, which is like this to the 4th power is your outer, and your inner is the 2x plus 5. So chain rule says to take the derivative of a function that looks like this, that has an inner and outer function, you have to do this. Take the derivative of the outer function first while keeping the inner the same. Then you multiply by the derivative of that inner function. So it's a little bit, right, complex. So I'm just going to copy and paste this below to make the typing easier for me. No? Okay. So the derivative of the outer function. So let's say I asked you guys, the outer function is to the 4th power. What if I said, what's the derivative of x to the 4th power? What would you all say the derivative of x to the 4th power is? And you could type that out. 4x to the 3rd power? Yeah, bring down the exponent, subtract 1. That's correct. Ooh, look at Eric, already keeping the inner function the same. Yeah, and then putting that for correction. Awesome. Yeah, so that's exactly what we do, except instead of x, according to chain rule, we keep this inner function the same. So we're going to do 4. I'm going to bring down the 4. And then this is going to change to a 3. Notice how I took the derivative of the outer function, but I'm keeping the inner part the same. That's step 1 to chain rule. Then, remember, chain rule is not done yet. Then it says you're going to multiply. Oh, I have to insert the function to multiply. Insert equation. Oh no, I can't see it. Shoot. Okay, I'm just going to do a star to represent multiplication. There we go. Multiply. And what's the derivative of our inner function for this problem? 2. 2. Awesome. You guys are correct. So that's times 2. Awesome. The only thing we now have to do is simplify. 4 times 2 is 8. And then I'm just going to bring this down. And you do not have to FOIL this out 3 times. No, that's fine. This is your answer. Let's see if, does anyone have any questions? Let me see if we did that correct. I mean, it looks correct to me. And I think we're in our last minute of the meeting, everybody. Let me remind you of the assignment. I still have to create the Google Classroom assignment, but your assignment is to finish up the rest of these problems. You do not have to do the challenge problems unless you want extra credit. I'll be creating the assignment right now. And I'm also going to upload this as well so you can look back at what we talked about. I wish we all had time to actually, you guys work together and whatnot. But one last thing before you go, I'm scared because I got kicked out of my pre-calculus meeting because I took too long, is that I want you to think about this quote today. Today, I refuse to stress myself out about things I cannot control or change. So I want you guys to really take that with you today. Please don't stress out about things that we have no control over. And usually that gives me peace of mind when I remind myself of that. All right, we're gonna end our meeting. I don't know how to, okay, I'll see you guys. Hopefully I'll see you guys soon. Yeah, bye everybody. Please submit the assignment. Bye, Huda. How can I end this? Oh, I had to stop share.